in your opinion, who is the best driver in the sport currently?
I think it's me.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go on the ball. What a race! California's Kevin Harvick does it. Straight making right there. You're the man.
Welcome to Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour, presented by Echo Park Automotive and NASCAR on Fox. And today we have a very unique guest, at least in the NASCAR world, very much known in the racing world, Hélio Castroneves. And I really am intrigued by how he's going to approach the Daytona 500 with all the other disciplines of racing that he's been a part of, and what the differences are in how he's prepped for this race compared to everything he's done in the past. So let's hear what Helio has to say. Well, Helio, first, thanks for taking the time to talk about your new experience. You have had so many great racing experiences and meant so much to IndyCar. Had great success in sports car. You've kind of done everything that you can do on your side of the racing world with 4 Indianapolis 500 wins. You've won the 24 hours 3 times. So why is the time right to come run the Daytona 500 now?
Well, first of all, Kevin, it's great to be joining your show. You're doing a phenomenal job, and yes, it's great to be in a situation that you're still able to learn. You're still able to obviously enjoy a lot racing, which I have a lot of fire inside me. So, because of that, when you have opportunities, especially with an amazing group of people like Trackhouse and Project 91, and everything starts showing in a way that you're like, wow, this can actually happen, because this all happening, the opportunity with SRX, basically a long time ago with Hawk, basically making a joke about it. If I would have won an SRX race, he would have tried to put me in Daytona 500. I was like, if I win, you can do that? I said, yes. And that's how it started. And we had an opportunity, but it wasn't a very good one. And finally, all the pieces and everything together start getting to a way that I say, you know what? Why not? Let's go ahead and make this happen. So super, super excited with an amazing group of people, as I mentioned before. And Justin Marks is absolutely, he knows what he thinks, and he has a amazing vision ahead of it. And putting this project together with everyone, it's a phenomenal opportunity for a lot of people, especially for me. Winning the Indy 500, as you mentioned, and only AJ Foy and Mario Andretti were able to do that. It's incredible. Obviously, it will be an amazing challenge, incredible challenge. I know what I have in front of me, but hey, I love challenge, and why not to try now?
Well, I love the fact that you're willing to step outside of that box and do this. And I think for everything that you did on the IndyCar side of the world, what has the preparation been like for you? What has caught you off guard? I know you've been at the shop to do the seat fitting and things like that. Tell me some of the things that have you've kind of had to step back and say, oh, this is not normal. You've driven the SRX car, you've driven IROC cars, but since you've driven the IROC cars, a lot has changed inside those race cars. And so tell me about your experience of getting fitted, getting prepared, and everything that you're going to do leading up to the 500, because there's really no way for simulation to help you in this particular case because of the fact of the pack racing and how much speed it picks up. So just give us some insight into everything that you've got going on leading up to the Daytona 500 from a preparation standpoint.
Yeah, so from the beginning, as I mentioned, the Project 91, the particular, designate a lot of the guys just for this race car. And I was looking to my teammates, Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez, even Shane, which is, we have good stories from a long time ago together. And but those two guys, Daniel Suarez and Shane, are a lot bigger than me. So I actually end up taking a small step and going to Ross' seat, so that the base seat, so that I can at least find and feel comfortable, which actually we have a very same height and seem to be the same body type. So it was perfect. I just made a little adjustment in the lumbar. And so we did some running in Talladega. I even used that seat for the ARCA practice that we had a few weeks ago, and it seemed to be perfect. So on that particular area, I feel very comfortable. But I'll be honest, the first practice in Talladega coming out of the pits, because we did a lot of pit simulation. This is one of the challenges that I think for me will be a big one in an IndyCar and sports car. And a lot of people might not know, when you come to 60 mile an hour, you just press a button, and basically the car, it stays on 60 mile an hour. You can go full throttle, do whatever you want to do, and then the car doesn't increase the speed. It's completely different than in the Cup car. You actually have to control that on the throttle, being very smooth. So for me, that is being some of the challenge. I'm probably going to be a little bit, and even if you go 100 revs lower, you are 1 or 2 mile an hour slower, people are going to probably start bumping you. So you have to get that one right. And coming out of the pits as well, I mean, so much power. I mean, it's so incredible that I wasn't, expecting that. I knew there was power, but it was so much coming to the right, to the left. It's like all over the place. So I was getting used to. I was finally able to understand the revs. But I feel that actually at the track, running with everyone, I haven't run yet, but I feel the racing aspect, it won't be. I mean, it will be hard to understand when to move and things like that. But I feel we'll be okay on that particular scenario. But the biggest challenge that I think for me will be, it's about 6 or 7 pit stops that I have to really be careful and control what to do on those scenarios.
All right. Well, you can't leave us hanging on the story. You got to tell us the story that you mentioned with, was it Shane or past history? What were you referring to there?
So 10 or 15 years ago, I went to Australia via Super Cup. And it was one of those races that international race, they used to invite us. And I was having such a hard time. And we're sort of like teammates in that particular race. And we went to Queensland, and he saw that I was having a hard time finding the breaking point. It was so difficult and so interesting. And it was my first time with driving on the left, right? No, on the right. It was something completely different. So he came to me and gave me a lot of tips, and I improved about 1.5 seconds. I was like, from now on, you're going to be my coach. And ironic, now I said, look, coach, you were back again. So you got to give me tips again. And he's been great. From the beginning to the end, he's been very, very good. And we reconnect again.
Well, that's great. And, Shane is just a stand-up guy. You've got a great group of people to lean on over there at Trackhouse from the driver's side of things. And I think you're going to do great. When you go back and you look at, the IROC days, is there anything that you remember about the IROC cars and everything that we did? I know you and I raced against each other a little bit in the IROC cars. Is there anything that you go back and you think about from the IROC days that might apply to anything that you do in the Cup car?
I do. I remember racing with you, against you, Ryan Newman, Jimmy Johnson. It was quite a lot of experience into, and my admiration for you two guys to able to find that air that we were having a hard time as open wheel guys to understand, because people don't realize in the open wheel, the car in front of you sucks you, right? So it's you basically control your own destiny. In the Cup car, basically, you have someone behind you pushing you. And for you to understand that dynamic, it's a very, very hard. I remember Mark Martin actually with me. He was giving me a hard time, hitting me so hard that I'm like, he must damage his car, but he didn't. So I understand this can be really the elbows out at one point, and I'm prepared for that. Hopefully, we'll be able to stay out of trouble. But I do remember how hard it is, how be patient you need to be, and I'm willing to use those muscle memories from IROC days to apply it for the Daytona 500.
Let's talk a little bit about your path, and you've had a great career. Tell me how you started, how you became interested in racing, and your path to what eventually led you to be an IndyCar winner, champion, Indianapolis 500 winner. I mean, just everything that you could dream of. Tell me about your path for those on the NASCAR side that may not know a lot about you, so that we can understand how you started and how you wound up here in the U.S. racing.
Oh, Kevin, my love for sport was actually with the stock car here in Brazil, and that was interesting. My dad used to have a small team, and I started just he never raced, but he had this small team, and I started watching and fall in love with the sport. I enjoyed just the noise of the engines, enjoyed the smell of the gas, and from there on, I really fall in love. I felt when I jumped in the race car, I was part of I could, take care of my own destiny. And once I got my first trophy, I was like, man, this is pretty cool. After my first win, I start realizing, okay, I don't have many friends here. I need to take care of my own here. But all joke aside, racing for me, it was a lesson in life. I start dealing with a lot of people, from wealthy people not so much about that, but people that you can trust or not trust. So it was a great lesson in my life. So when I went to America, obviously IndyCar was my goal, and as soon as in 1998, it was my first time that when I joined Tony Bettenhausen, which was incredible. He believed in me, and after that was Carl Hogan, and a year later ended up joining Team Penske, and stayed there for many years. So it was a great, it was destiny that put us there. So I couldn't thank enough for everything that happens in my life in the way it did, and it's still going.
Yeah, and I think when you look back from the outside looking in, you look to be just this very self-motivated, high energy, loving personality that is just easy to gravitate towards. And for a guy like myself watching IndyCar races, you see these interviews and this personality, and it's just it's so easy to gravitate towards liking you just because of the way that you act. But then you drive, and that part is exciting as well. And so it's been a joy to watch you through the years. And I think one of the interesting things for me, you go to Team Penske, when it came time to get to the end, how did that conversation start? How did it go with the Penske and the team, and how did it feel to be in somebody else's car to win after your time at Team Penske was over? That had to be very rewarding in itself.
It was very interesting. As I mentioned, I couldn't thank enough for Roger. He basically, the way I view that way, there was always a beginning, middle, and the end. Everything in life, basically, that's what happens. And it happens to the generation before me. It happens to the generation before them. So it would have happened eventually. And the conversation was very, very smooth, and the way I see with Roger, especially after I win my Indy 500 without them, I said, Roger, I can't thank enough you and your entire family and your entire team to adopt me, raise me, and then set me free. So it was that's the way I felt. And obviously Tim Cindric now, which is big news, right? So I couldn't believe it. We just spoke with at the Daytona 24 Hours, but he was also a person that it started together. We are started together at Team Penske, and he was another person that really guided me in a lot of ways. So when you have good people, when you surround by amazing people, you don't feel that it's an end. I never felt there was an end with Team Penske. I just have a lot of admiration for the entire group and the special Penske family. But in the end, you got to keep it going, right? You have dreams, you have motivation, as you mentioned. I want to keep doing more things. And after my time with Penske, I ended up capturing a lot of other things, which is amazing. 3 Rolex Daytona 24 Hours, which is fantastic, and now the Indy 500. So, and now Daytona 500. So you see, there is always an opportunities. Maybe one door closed, many other open. And but I will never stop thanking that family for made me who I am, because definitely that's what happened.
So you've got the Daytona 500. What else do you have going forward as we go through the year? What else do you have planned this year?
So I'll be doing the Indy 500 as well with the MSR, which I became a minority owner with the team, which is interesting. It's hard for you to take your helmets and put the team owner hat.
Yes.
I'm still adapting to sort of like that scenario. But we have incredible drivers, Marcus Armstrong and Felix Rosenqvist representing the team at the Indy 500 side. We have the Acura sports car program this year, which is super, super cool. We finished second at Daytona 24 Hours this year. So for me, I'm still going. As I said, I might end up doing something here in Brazil. Who knows? Maybe it's in the big cars like stock cars. Now that I'm bitten by the bug, and but who knows? One day, as you know, Kevin, we talked about that before. The cycle is going to end, which is absolutely normal, and then I'll pursue something else. But as I said, with this fire that is still inside me, with the opportunity that is still presenting itself, I'm going to do everything I can to take it and do the best I can.
So you've driven IndyCars for a number of years, and one of the things that's super intriguing to me is when guys like you come back just for the Indy 500. And I look at that, and I'm a freak of just having things be as repetitious as possible to happen the same and seats the same. What is that process like running one race a year? Because I got in Kyle Larson's car last year and hadn't done that in 4 or 5 months, and I felt like a fish out of water as far as being comfortable. I mean, you could still make it happen, but not at that comfort level that you can carry the car. So how does that process go of getting yourself comfortable back in the IndyCar to be able to feel like on qualifying day you're competitive to be in the game?
Yeah, the good news, I've been doing this since 2018 now, just won one race. So you get used to also the benefits of the Indy 500. You have about a week of practice, depending on the weather. If you always pray not to rain because you want to get back in the saddle as soon as possible. But, the track and the cars and the team as well, as long as I have a seat that it's been 25 years, the same seat. Not the same, we're scanning out, but it's the same sort of like a shape, which makes me come back to that muscle memory. So it's just like running a bicycle, you might take few laps, so you adapt to depends of the setup that year. And then after that, it comes back really, really good. This year for me would be interesting because you're going to have the hybrid. And I did a test last year, and you can see how different, how easy you can put that button, press that button all the time to get a little bit extra power. But how strategized you gotta be to make sure that when you reach this power, you don't lose much time. So it will be different this year, the Indy 500. So everybody needs to keep an eye on it. It's going to be special when it comes to the last laps on the race. This will be a key. Whoever has a little bit power left, it might be the benefit to win the race.
Well, there's a lot different on IndyCar. It sounds like this year we've got IndyCar on Fox this year. Tell us what you think that brings to the sport, having IndyCar races on Big Fox on a week-to-week basis, and the things that you've seen from the team owner side that Fox has brought to the table that are going to lead into the season.
Well, we're super excited to not only have an incredible company as Fox, but that they're going to do anything to make not only IndyCar back to the saddle and back to what used to be. And apart from that, this year now the teams they sign a contract with basically franchise now. So we were looking into this potential that in the future, as NASCAR, as Formula One, as others, even the V8 Supercar, whoever wants to join in, the teams have valuation now, which is great opportunities. So all these things is going to lead to another manufacturer, is going to lead to new car. It's going to lead to so many things that will benefit not only the drivers, the teams, but the series as well. And so we're excited to have Fox on board. We're looking forward to it, and it will be a lot of fun.
So when you look at IndyCar as a whole right now, in your opinion, who is the best driver in the sport currently? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Wow. Yeah. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I think it's me. No, look. It's a everyone asks me this question, and it's difficult for you to point out one guy because in one series, you always have a person that adapts well and do extremely well. Obviously, in IndyCar right now, I would say it's my buddy Scott Dixon. I mean, this guy is incredible. But obviously, you're just talking about Kyle Larson as well. He is another guy that it's the type of a driver when you're talking about AJ Foyt that when he sits in a chair, he's gonna make that chair goes fast, right? So, but
Right.
you have incredible people that I admire a lot, and I used to race with Juan Pablo Montoya. You know, for me, he was one of the guys that I think, man, this guy is a tough nut to crack, you know. So,
Yeah.
but I enjoy it. I enjoy to have this type of drivers because you can learn from them, and when you beat them, you feel like, yeah, today was a good day.
Well, it's always best to, to compare yourself to the best people, right? I mean, when you're a true competitor like you are and I am, you want to put yourself up against the best because that's what motivates you. That's what drives you. And I think when you mentioned Scott Dixon, I mean, he's been there forever. And we are in the middle of, and I think Tony Stewart put it the best, a once-in-a-lifetime generational driver in Kyle Larson. When he ventured over to IndyCars last year and ran the Indy 500, is there anything that stuck out just of being around Kyle or watching him drive or the things that he did at the Indy 500 to you that you're like, whoa, this guy's a little bit different than some of the other guys that have popped over here and done this?
Yes, in fact, we finished just, I think one position behind each other. And in the race, we had a lot of, I had a lot of opportunity to race against him. And I realized that even for someone that never drove an open wheel car, all of a sudden, the way he was anticipating, because when you drive a car, it's no problem. You feel the speed, you feel what the car needs. It's becoming natural to you. But anticipation before things happen, that's when you realize that okay, he understands the game. He understands what he needs to do just before it happens. And when you do that, you can definitely position a car whatever you want to make moves or to prevent scenarios that you don't want to do it. So that for me was actually stand out a lot. And I have to be honest, Kevin, you were the one that I always look after because I know you push as far as you could in your career to keep driving. I don't know why you stopped, by the way. I thought you were going to keep it going. And but you were all one of the drivers that I said, man, if I would have been in NASCAR Cup, but one day I want to be like that guy. So yeah, you were one of my faves as well.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think as you go through the years, it's good to have that natural. I was fortunate to have that natural opportunity to go and be in the booth and be a part of everything that Fox has going on. But I love the sport. I love being involved in it. I've got a 12 and a 7-year-old, so that's perfect timing to really be a part of Keelan's racing career and Piper her adventures into whatever she's doing. So I've really enjoyed the booth. I don't know that I would probably venture too far out. Kyle hit me the other day. He's like, "Hey, we're going to come race at your dirt track. You have any interest in driving this sprint car?" And I was like, "Absolutely not. You guys are nuts." Would you ever drive his sprint car? Because it seems like he wants people to drive it.
Remember Danny Lazowski? I mean, he invited me so many times to drive this car. It's like, okay, now I think it's a little bit beyond my capability.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because I was not grow up on dirt. So when I did SRX, man, I suck on the dirt. It was horrible. So I said, okay, maybe that's not the way I should be racing here.
Well, that leads me to our final question, and it's the same thing that we ask everybody. But what was your first car? When did you get it? Did you buy it? What's the story of your first car that you drove when you were a kid?
Yes, it was my dad purchased for his company, and in Brazil we have the Volkswagen Fox, but it's not the normal Volkswagen Fox. It's like El Camino. They have the back of the car a little bit open, but it's a tiny one. So that was my first car called Saveiro, and I used to. That's where I learned how to drive, to be honest, in the streets here in Brazil. And even when I did not have the driver's license, I still driving it. But it was a lot of fun, and that car was it was good to me in many aspects.
Yeah, where did it go? Did you sell it, wreck it, or did you just leave it behind?
Once I actually moved to States, my dad company shut down. I think he went with the company, and
Okay.
I don't know what happened. So, but yeah, it was a good car for me.
What's the coolest race car you've ever driven?
It was the Reynard from 2000 to 2001. Man, that car was a beast. I remember going to Sebring, and you put in third gear, and the car still actually was spinning. You were like, oh my goodness, this was very, very incredible machines. And I enjoy so much driving those cars. But also the sports car, the Acura, man, those cars are so incredible. So many buttons that I still don't know what those buttons are supposed to do, but I was just driving the car, and the car was it fit like a glove.
Helio, I appreciate you taking the time today. I wish you the best of luck in the Daytona 500. I'll be there calling the race, watching your progress through the week, and hopefully you have some fun doing it.
I might end up calling you and say, hey, I need some tips. So watch out if you don't hear.
I'm here. I'm here. Let me know. If you need anything, you just let me know. Good luck.
I'll definitely let you know. But thank you so much, Kevin. All the best, my friend.
All right, man. Have a great day.